My quest to learn more about electronics continues, and I did finish putting together the breadboard for uh, the idea putting the treble booster into the fuzz that I spoke about just recently, and plug it in, stick in the battery power, and it doesn't work. I made sure there was nothing touching. I was meticulous putting it together. And I think maybe because I have one of the pedals has like some power filtering messing around stuff and the other one doesn't. I wonder if there's an issue where there's not enough juice in the battery to get it to run. Because also the batteries aren't new. They came out of my beeping smoke detector. So, anyways, uh, I'll work on that. Troubleshooting it is tough, but I realized something over the last couple of days or whatever. I had like this gut feeling about using analog pieces and not using digital stuff, and I think software is overused in the production of music or anything, really. And um, I really enjoy the Lex Friedman podcast. Shout out Lex. Not that he's going to see this, but there's two things that I listened to recently. One was Jim Keller. I think it's Jim Keller. He was on quite a while ago, but I was listening, and they got to talking about, because they're Jim's as long as it's actual Jim Keller. Anyways, they're building chips specifically designed for AI computation, and the discussion got into the fact that the way a lot of things are built now, instead of there's all the several layers of abstractions, and then you get up into actual like machine code and assembly code, and then you get into actual software and you stack all these abstractions on top of each other, but the underlying hardware is not designed to actually run exactly the things that you want it to run. They use graphical processor units as a example that I think more people understand. And so apparently the way those work is that the GPU basically has a tiny little computer that calculates what should be displayed on each pixel or a group of pixels or whatever, depending on the power, right? So instead of the computer software calculating the shading and all that across the whole thing, this hardware is calculating the color, shading, so on and so forth of the actual pixels, and thus it's much faster. Um, so, and it got me thinking about these music editing programs, and the software is going through all these layers of abstractions to emulate what is now. I'm a noob, and this is a lot of pieces for me, and if I look at it, it's kind of confusing just looking at it, but it is significantly more simple than running through a stack of abstractions to emulate the same thing. Um, so that's one reason I like the idea of actually having the physical stuff doing the essentially what is the computation for you. And then just recently, I think it was this guy called Neil Gershenfeld. That's quite the name. And I think it was him. Maybe it wasn't him. It was someone else. But they're talking about the nature of digital is to change uncertainty into certainty, right? And so if you have a 0 or 1, It's on or off. There's no 0.2, there's no 0.9. Those just get collapsed down to either 0 or 1. And the issue, I think, with music or anything like that is those sharpening the uncertainty of what happens through a circuit, or the fact that you end up with a 0.2 instead of a 0, or whatever the equivalent is in the actual waveform of the sound, is better for the ears. I mean, you you can hear a MIDI violin versus someone who actually knows how to play a violin, and it's significantly different. Anyways, those are just my thoughts. And there are dogs. Hello, dogs. Anyways, have a good day.